I used to play this video game, and they always had this character. She had like the bathrobe and the curlers, you know, and I was like, why would anyone ever go out in public in curlers? That's insane, right? I mean, think of all the vanity you would have to get rid of. And not to speak of just basic human dignity, because when people see you, oh my God, they're gonna judge you. And why would you want to do that? You know, you should conform. You should do what everyone thinks is normal. I really think you should. The only thing I'm gonna warn you about that is they think everything's weird. And just as soon as you figure out what one group of people doesn't find weird, you're going to find yourself around a group that thinks that's weird. And you're going to tell them, no, guys, this isn't weird. See, those people didn't think this was weird. And I'm doing what they wanted me to do because they taught me that wasn't weird. So what? Now I should still not do what I think. I should not do what you think. Is that it? So now you won't say I'm weird because it makes you uncomfortable. So, okay. All right. So I'm going to learn what you like. All right. And then I'm not going to be weird anymore. And it's going to be great. Until I walk 5 feet that way and I'm around a different group. God forbid I go to a different country or get around anyone that thinks differently than me, because that would be really far. But if I even go 5 feet over here, suddenly that person's going to say I'm weird because I'm doing something they don't know. They're not from that group, though, and they weren't with the group before. And so now I have to tell them, well, guys, I'm working really hard here. I did everything those people told me wasn't weird, and they finally accepted me, but I found out I really didn't like them in the end. So then I kind of, I just didn't really fit in. I don't know what it was. So then I moved on to the next group, because they told me all the things that those people told me were not weird, were weird. And that seemed really confusing and unfair, because I stopped listening to myself a while ago because everybody said everything I did was weird. But now I'm following what they did, and that got me accepted for a bit. But now you're telling me I'm weird, and now I went to another group, and they're telling me I'm weird. And you guys, I'm on my like third or fourth brain thing here where I'm trying to absorb everything you're telling me, that you've got the answer, that those 5 people didn't. And that's why I felt so weird with them and didn't belong, because they had wrong answers and you have right answers. But I just want to know how it's going to be different this time, because you see, the thing inside of me that said they were doing something, or I shouldn't do what they were telling me to do, and I overrode that because it was really intense, because people were really putting a lot of pressure on me, telling me I was doing things really, really wrong. And I listened. I'm trying to be a good girl, and then I'm feeling the same way with you, and I don't know what's different, because if I'm being honest with myself, there is nothing more convincing about what you're telling me is going to make me feel normal and accepted and belonging. It doesn't seem any different than anyone else, and I'm not sure why you think you're any more right than anyone else, because maybe you've found your rightness and you stayed here and you've stuck here, and that's great, but I haven't, and I've been exploring, and frankly speaking, you're saying the exact same thing and sound exactly the same, and your energy is exactly the same as the people you're telling me are evil and bad. And that means if I'm really listening to you, then I should be concerned about you, because I believed them and you're the same. So now you're telling me, though, that especially if my soul's on the line, I mean, really I should listen, right? So now you're telling me they're totally wrong and you're totally right. And even though you guys seem same, you're different. But no one is telling me just to do what I think I should do. But that's what feels most right. But no matter what, see, if I do that, then everyone's going to tell me I'm weird. And at least if I find one group and learn what they like, then we can all hang out together and we won't feel weird, and we'll tell each other we're not weird. And then, yeah, I never have to do what feels right to me. I never have to color outside the lines. I never have to, change anything or hold a sign or make too many waves. And people will just kind of like me, and maybe I'll kind of like who I was, and probably when I get to my deathbed I'll be real bummed that I wasn't just me, because at the end of the day, if I'm really honest with myself, nobody really liked me that much anyway, and I was never even my real self. So at least if I had been weird and wild in myself, maybe I wouldn't have had that many friends, and maybe I wouldn't have been that popular. But if I'm honest, I didn't have that many real friends anyway. And I didn't really like being popular, and I didn't really like the popular people. The whole thing just seems really goofy and rigged, and it just seems to me that whoever thinks the most rightly in a certain group is the most popular set, the one that champions that group the most. But all that does is make them look more wrong and more like idiots to the rest of us, because nobody's that right. Nobody has it that figured out. And I think that's the thing you figure out when you get older is nobody has it figured out. And if you're beautiful, you're beautiful if you have curlers in your hair or not. And who gives a shit if some random person you walk by that you're never going to talk to sees you and thinks that's weird? Truly. We are so vain, and we don't even realize that we're doing things in our society because we've been told to, because we've been pre-programmed to. You don't have to. Nobody gives a shit. I'm going to take these curlers. I'm going to look hot as hell all day long. Do I give a shit if someone thinks, right? Does it have to matter that I maintain that status all the time? Because the truth is it's going to go away anyway. In a couple of years, I'm not going to be attractive anyway. And if I can't handle walking by someone that thinks I look like an ugly idiot now, it ain't going to be any easier in 30 years when I don't get to look hot all afternoon, right? I'm like, well, I can look hot anyway, right? Like, that's just an ego-based thing. Like, that isn't what matters to me. I even do it to my husband all the time. I'm like, do I look hot today? Do I look better now that I've lost weight? You know, am I sexy? And he'll be like, you know, Emily, I really love laughing with you. And I really love talking to you. And I love how capable you are. And, you know, over time, he's really been teaching me something in quite a poignant format of how I have my value cataloged. And so I continue to replicate that. And then I get mad that that's what people value me for. But that's what I was valuing myself for. Now I think I'm funny. I am bright. I am deep. I have something to say. And not because I'm right about it or so amazing, but because I have lived some life. And I've been through some really painful things on different sides. And you know what? I actually care. And when the chips were down, I made the difficult choice. I gave up the millions of dollars. I walked away from what was wrong. So you know what? I may not look so cool, but I love who I am. And I get to stand up and hold my head up high and go, you know what? I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes, but you know what? I try and I give it my best. And if I screwed it up last week and I see it, I will do it differently this week. If I don't, I won't. But you know, at the same time, I like that about myself. That's something to own. I love that I can walk with friggin' Velcro curlers in my hair and film myself. And I don't care if people walk by, if they're around and I have coffee on their porch. Like, people are bored anyway. People need entertainment. No one is doing anything interesting. And you know why? It's just because they're replicating everything else, even the videos. Make your hook, make it this long. Make sure you've got your, posts on the bottom of the screen. That's just what other people, that's what worked for them. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that stuff. You should only do it though, if it works for you, rather than trying to pigeonhole yourself into something. And I just use, content creation as an example, because that's what I do. Einstein, come here, sweetie. Sit. Thank you. But it actually fits into any sit. Thank you. He's like, I'm just gonna wait to go by. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, it's quite a day.
Isn't it? It's beautiful. Have a wonderful day. Okay, sweetie, come on. See? Nobody even notices. And nobody cares.